So, I guess how I feel about representation is that there's so many times where that we as people, everything is, I guess, coded. Like, especially when it comes to like representation of darker skin or black people, we've always been like coded as either other or the bad person, using different kinds of language in order to basically paint a bad picture of us as people, I guess. Um, a lot of the stereotypes about black people are rooted in very old, outdated stereotypes and outdated information and what people have always thought about like darker skinned people. And there's been so many different forms of like stereotypes about black people, like the Jezebel, the Mandingo, um, the Sapphire. Those examples, those have always been used as representation when it comes to black people for years, especially in media, and it's just kind of like how I've always seen it. And then adding queer, adding sexuality to it is a lot too. Um, a lot of queer people have always had different forms of stereotypes being shown about them. Back in the 1920s, we were able to express ourselves a little bit more fluidly and more explicitly. And then the Hays Code happened. After the Hays Code, we have always had to code queer language have always had to be coded or shown in a way where it was not um, I guess demeaning or um, something along those lines to the general public. Because of the Hays Code, it basically banned any kind of like queer showing being queer or anything to media, and it's pretty shitty. Um, of course, like it's 2020 and now there's a more positive representation of all of that, but it still feels like it's not really normalized. There's still always the different forms of representation that has always been like, whether like gay panic or bi or lesbian panic or whatever, or if they try to touch on people being trans or trans identity or something like that, it will always be used as either a joke or as something so new, something that's never been really taught before, when like trans people have always existed. And it does many forms of representation in media and in sci-fi that hasn't been the best. Like, especially when it comes to bisexuality. I mean, look at Torchwood. It's kind of throws caution to the wind and shows a very just outdated understanding of sexual fluidity. And yeah, it kind of makes me wish that there's better representation of like different people in Hollywood, in sci-fi and Hollywood and whatnot. Like, I'm so happy that there's more of a black representation in Star Trek, and they've pushed more for diversity than almost any other sci-fi show I've ever seen, which is always a good thing. It went from other showing aliens as like racial others to having black people being part of Starfleet and being old like leaders in Starfleet instead of just secretary. So that's always good. I hope this answers this question about representation, about my experiences about representation, how I feel. So I hope it's something.